Hello, welcome back to Armchair Armory, and here it is, my first match reaction of the season. And how long ago now? 10, 15 minutes ago? 20 minutes? It finished at Old Trafford. Manchester United 0, Arsenal 1. The positives, 3 points. It was always going to be a tough game, and this was kind of going to be my opening line before I even knew the score. I think when we kicked off today, I was going to say, regardless of the result, we knew this was going to be a big game for both teams. We knew this was going to be a tough game for both teams. I think overall we weren't great. But then again, there's part of me that's like, I wasn't expecting us to be great. Like, no team, apart from maybe Man City this weekend, has been near on flawless, let's say. And even for the first 10 minutes of City's game against Wolves last night, I didn't sit here thinking, Jesus Christ, they look good. It wasn't until they went 2-0 up and they started, and second half especially, where I started to think, yeah, they're looking pretty good. I didn't watch the Chelsea game. I did watch the Liverpool game, which, Liverpool looked okay going forward, but I still feel that they didn't look as scary as everyone's been making out. And I know they've had like an amazing transfer window and stuff like that, but yeah, they looked vulnerable in defense, put it that way. But going back to us, yeah, I don't think we played great, especially in an attacking sense. Like the first half, I was worried. I felt we were losing the ball too easily, giving the ball away in stupid positions, giving Cunha and Mbeumo too much space. They were really good. I'll talk briefly about Man United in a minute. But yeah, so first half we were awful, and I was worried at that point. At that point, I thought it's only a matter of time before United score. They should have been at least 2-0 up, to be honest. They had two chances that you could say, if the world, in an alternative universe, could have been a goal, and we were 1-0 up so it would have been like 2-1 to them if those goals went in. We scored from a set piece. It seems like we're still going to be labelled set piece FC. I've had people already messaging me saying that we're lucky and all this sort of stuff. At the end of the day, it doesn't matter. Like, I knew that we wouldn't be up to speed. I knew that we'd still be getting into the groove of things. To go to Old Trafford on the first day of the season is not an easy feat. But the fact that we won the game and we managed to see it out and we managed to show some resilience, particularly second half, we were definitely much better defensively compared to the first half. You saw players like Gabriel and Saliba, who looked very uncomfortable with Mbeumo and Cunha, and to some extent Mason Mount as well. They looked very unassured and not really sure how they were going to handle it. And then second half, we just pretty much nullified Man United, I'd say. Like, they didn't really have that many chances to speak of in the second half. Just a quick word on Man United as a whole. I think they'll be fine this season. You know, it couldn't get any worse than what happened last season. You know, they sacked Ten Hag, brought in Ruben Amorim. Ruben Amorim had a really bad start to his life as Man United head coach. I said last season that I think he's going to be the guy to take them forward, and you definitely saw through the signings that they've made. I think it's too early to make any judgment on Šeško. He looked okay when he came on. He looked like he was in and around. He set up he put the ball back into midfield for Ugarte, who had come on by that point, who decided to shoot from 30 yards out, which was ridiculous. But yeah, I think they'll be okay. I think they'll be back in the top half of the table. I'm not taking the piss. I'm genuinely saying I think they'll be fine. I think they look really good. For the majority of the game, they were probably the better team. And I think just experience, defensive experience, and our ability, how we've gotten better, you can definitely see the improvement in our game management. that we've managed to get this over the line. We've managed to get the win over the line. Previous seasons, maybe even last season, we probably would have drawn or lost that game. You know, I know definitely in the early days of Arteta and the Emery days and latter part of Wenger, we would have lost that game. We definitely would have lost it. So yeah, that's a positive. The negative is that attacking wise, we still look a bit toothless. I felt like we were better, even though, I don't know, like Madueke didn't really do much when he came on. Like, we started with the starting lineup was Raya in goal. Obviously, we had Ben White and Ricardo Calafiori as the wing backs, and then we had obviously Gabriel and Saliba in centre of defence. The midfield that I think all of us expected. I think everyone in the football world and his dog knew that it would be Rice, Zubimendi, Ødegaard. And then the front three was Martinelli, Gyökeres and Saka. And I felt like Saka was a bit leggy today. I felt like he wasn't really up to speed. I know Martinelli will be scapegoated after this because people will say that we played better when he went off. I don't agree with that at all. I think we were nullified on both sides. If anything, from the wings, it was Calafiori and White that were trying to do stuff. Gyökeres wasn't quite as sharp as we're maybe expecting, and I also didn't expect that. I didn't expect him to come on. I would have been pleasantly surprised if he'd come on, if he'd started this game and he'd scored a brace or something like that, or even scored a goal. I expected him to play longer, but I didn't expect him to play 90 minutes. He ended up playing an hour, and then Havertz came on. And when Havertz came on, we looked a little bit better going forward. I felt anyway. I think it's going to be a while before Gyökeres gets up to speed and we start seeing what we've been hearing about him, essentially. But there were moments from Gyökeres where he ran in between the lines and got in there, but he was just pushed too far out to the right. That was the only problem. By good positional play from Man United's defenders. Zubimendi looked okay for the most part. I think he was a bit shaky in the first few minutes. Playing passes into nowhere and that sort of stuff. No different to Thomas Partey, really, because Thomas Partey used to do that all the time. So not the greatest of performances overall, but we got the result, which is the most important thing. And I'm hoping that, this is a slow burn for us rather than a consistent thing throughout the season, because it's not going to go well for us if we continue to play like that. Roy Keane made a really good point just now on Sky, where he said it looks like we're always ready to sit in and leave with a 1-0 win instead of like going for goal. That's one thing I'll say is a difference. It is definitely a difference between in this first, not to say that you can take too much from the very first game of the season, but if I was comparing the season, the games, the first game so far between Liverpool, City and ourselves, I would say that's one thing that City and Liverpool do that we haven't done. We haven't gone and tried to kill the game off, because we were definitely better second half and we did enough to keep Man United at bay. I think they threw all their eggs in one basket in that first 45, and then they sort of like waned away at that point. All we needed to do was manage the game. Once they tired themselves out, all we needed to do was manage the game. But yeah, this was a big deal for me because I don't know why we're playing Man United on the first day of the season. First of all, I knew that they'd be better than they were last year, even though they played well against us in both the Premier League fixtures. They didn't play well against us in the FA Cup, but in the league games they did, especially the one at Old Trafford that they drew. They should have won that. They probably should have won this game on balance if their chances that they had in the first half went in, they probably would have done. But yeah, we kept them at bay defensively, got that goal, and then just, as I say, we just managed to see the game out, which was the most important thing. We've started off the season with a win. We go into next weekend, Leeds at home, first home game of the season. Let's see what we can do there. It's going to be another tough one because, you know, they're last season's champions of the Championship. They're going to be up for it. I know that they're playing their first game tomorrow, Monday, at Ellen Road. So hopefully all of the first game of the season confidence will be sapped out of them when we go into next weekend. But we'll just have to see. We'll just have to see how it goes. The main thing I'm mostly positive about is that we won the game, because we needed to get off to a good start with the difficult start to the season that we have, regardless of the fact that the performance wasn't the most inspiring, and it didn't make me sit here thinking, yeah, we're definitely gonna win the league. But then again, after one seat, or we're definitely going to go on a title challenge again. But you never feel like that after the first game of the season. You know, even in the seasons where we've done well, I've just sort of gone, oh yeah, it's good, but yeah, let's see what happens going through to the rest of the going through for the rest of the season. Yeah, it is what it is. We take that. Always difficult place for us to go. You know, our record there hasn't been, it's probably been better, but it's never been great. It's been better in the last few years, but it's never been great. So yeah, we take that on the chin. We take that and we move on. Leeds next weekend. Right, I'm going to leave it there. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe. I'll be back again at some point in the week with the preview for the Leeds game. So until then, take care and stay safe.
Remember to like and subscribe, and also follow Dan on social media. All the information is in the description below.